Hi guys, in this lesson we are going to review adding and subtracting integers, but we're going to also talk about multiplying and dividing integers. So for some reason, most of you seem to be better at multiplying and dividing integers, but I want to cover both so that we can get everybody on the same page. All right, first example, we are adding, so we have -3 plus -2. So notice we're just adding lots of negatives together, so we get more negatives. So if we're adding and we have the same sign, we just add the numbers together and keep the same sign. If you go back to my bad guy and good guys talk, we have 3 bad guys and 2 bad guys. They get together and we have 5 bad guys, all right? Then we have -3 plus +6. So we have 2 different numbers. That causes a war, and so we actually end up subtracting. 6 minus 3 is 3. And then we look at the number that is bigger to figure out who's going to win the sign for the end. So in this case, 6 is positive, so the answer 3 is also positive. If you go back to the bad guy, good guy conversation, we've got 3 bad guys, 6 good guys. They're equally matched. So when the 6 good guys attack the 3 bad guys, they kill off all of them, and then there are 3 good guys left. All right, I won't talk about good guys and bad guys anymore if you don't want me to. But it works for me. Here we have just bigger armies, -26, +56. The signs are different, so we are in effect going to subtract. And we get 30. So what we need to do is to look for the bigger number, and it is positive, so we're going to keep this positive. -41 plus -38. We have lots of negatives, more negatives. When we add them together, we just get a whole bunch of negatives. So we think about this, 41 and 38 is 79. And because they were both negative, don't forget to keep it negative. Here we have -6 minus a -2. So now we're talking about subtracting. And remember, there's no such thing as subtracting, only adding the opposite. And if that is not stuck in your head yet, you haven't been watching my videos. Adding the opposite. So when we add the opposite, it looks like this. We change subtraction to addition, and we change the sign on the next number. Change, change, add the opposite. So I have -6 now and +2. They're different, so I'm going to subtract. The difference between that, 6 minus 4, or 2, is 4. Now I look for the bigger number to figure out what sign I'm going to put on this. Then we have 7 minus a -2. I want to add the opposite. Then I just have 7 plus 2 is 9, and they're both positive. So the answer has to be positive. All right, here I have 3 minus 7. You got it. I'm going to add the opposite. I have a -7 and a +3. So since they're different, I end up subtracting. And I keep the sign of the bigger number because that number wins. -7 minus 5. What am I going to do? Add the opposite. And now I have a -7 and a -5, and I put those together and I just get a whole lot of negatives. All right, let's move into multiplying and dividing. When we multiply and divide, it's a little bit easier. We always just do the multiplying and dividing, and then we have to figure out what sign we have. So if we have same signs, whether they're positive or negative, we're going to get positive in the end. And when we have different signs, it's always going to be negative in the end. So for example, I have -5 times -2. I just do 5 times 2 is 10, and negative times negative means it's the same sign. I'm going to get a positive 10. Here I have negative 24 divided by 8. I do that math. 24 divided by 8 is 3. And I look at the signs. I have one negative, one positive. They are different signs, so I'm going to have a negative answer. Check yourself. 8 times negative 3 gives me negative 24. Yes. All right, what happens if I have to multiply numbers in a row? I just do that math. I'm going to do 5 times 3 times 2, which is, you could do this in any order if you want to. I might like to do this. 5 times 2 is 10, times 3 is 30. Or I might like to do 5 times 3 is 15, times 2 is 30. You can multiply in any order you want to, but now what do I do about the sign? Well, I have two negatives, and here's a trick. You could do this. Negative 5 times positive 3 is negative 15, and negative 15 times negative 2 is positive 30. Or you could know this rule. If there are two negatives, that's an even number of negatives, and that will always be positive. Okay, even numbers of negatives will always give you a positive. Odd numbers of negatives will always give you a negative. That's just the way it comes out. In this case, we were positive. Okay. All right, let's look at a word problem. Note that a change can be an increase or a decrease. For an increase, use a positive number, and for a decrease, use a negative number. A tram moved upward 9 meters per second for 27 seconds. What was the total change in the tram's elevation? Well, we're going to go 9 meters for every second, and we're going to do 27, so we need to multiply 9 times 27. Let me just double check that math. And then it went upward, so let's call that positive 243. In a lab, a substance was cooled by 24 degrees Celsius over a period of 4 hours at a constant rate. Okay, so cooling means the temperature is going to go down. What was the change in temperature per hour? We're going cooled by 24 for the whole time. So I'm going to do 24 divided by 4 and find out that I cooled an average of 6 degrees each hour, but it's going down. So let's call that negative 6 degrees Celsius. All right, you're going to be doing the exercises in ALEKS and see how that goes.